You want to hear a story about an HOA getting exposed? Right in the first 3 sentences. I hadn't even taken my boots off mud still on my jeans when someone knocked and the woman who opened the door looked like she was grading my life sunglasses on visor like a judge's robe. She said straight away, "You can't park your truck on that slope like I'd just declared war." I smiled to myself because I'd just bought the land, but at that moment I wasn't planning on telling her. Act 1. The Clash. 2 hours after hauling the last box into the cabin, I open the door and find the welcome committee with clipboards like weapons. Cheryl, who calls herself the HOA president, steps forward and says, "Flat, that slope is common land. Your truck is on HOA property." I look at my Chevy, the tire just grazes a bit of grass, then back at her. "You must be mistaken." She rattles off the list. Wrong roof color, wrong porch swing. The cabin isn't registered. I laugh. "This cabin's been here 30 years. She folds her clipboard like a Bible and says, "If you don't remove the swing, if you don't comply, we'll fine you." Her voice is all smug certainty, like she's performed this scene 100 times. I set the cardboard box on the table, pull out the purchase packets, maps, transfer certificate, my name. Jarn O'Connell stamped on the first page. My heart does this tiny hop. They came to intimidate me, and I realize they're trying to claim what's mine. I flip through old survey maps, blueprints, decades of correspondence, and see another story. The parcel lines changed after a timber company went bankrupt and sold off lots. Paperwork doesn't lie. Morning finds the county recorder's office tucked between a bakery and an antique shop, the kind of place that still smells like ink and coffee. The clerk whistles when I show him the transfer certificate. "You related to the O'Connell who bought the Ridgewood parcels?" He says. I'll rattle cages. I leave with a manila envelope thick with certified copies. Parcel boundaries, quit claim deeds, and a 1992 zoning variance. The paper trail the HOA had been pretending didn't exist. And then a bold printed notice appears on my door, 3 pages of violations, a $400 fine pay within 72 hours. They mailed it like it was federal business. I go to the utility pole, open the deed lock box, unscrew the metal plate, snap a photo of the parcel number exactly where it should be. Then I make 3 calls, the county assessor for a site inspection, the sheriff's office to report harassment, and the land use lawyer I'd used during purchase, Rackwell Price, the kind of attorney whose name makes bureaucrats sweat. She says they're issuing fines on land they don't own, textbook overreach. I tell her to draft a cease and desist. Meanwhile, I set up trail cameras along the tree line, quiet red, infrared eyes, because I had a hunch. I was right. Dusk headlights through the trees, 2 figures in hoodies from a white SUV heading toward my shed. The next morning, broken padlock, orange spray paint smeared across the side of the shed, an unsubtle warning. Back off. I take the camera shots to Deputy Mara Torres at the sheriff's office. She looks at the photos and says, "That's vandalism and trespass. Are you pressing charges?" I hand over the deed parcel boundaries time-stamped footage. She promises a patrol and to check for prints. For the first time, their intimidation meets actual law enforcement. Act 2, pushback and the twist. Rackwell prints a cease and desist. I make copies and hand-deliver one to Cheryl's porch. She's watering her petunias. Her face drains when she sees me. "You can't." She starts, then rips open the envelope, scans the first page, and goes quiet. I stay calm. "You've been served. Stop issuing fines. Stop the harassment. Stop pretending you have legal authority." Cheryl sputters, "We maintain order here," and I say, "Or maintain power." The confidence that led her to march up my driveway is already cracking. Neighbors start showing up with their own stories. A retired park ranger has a folder full of threatening emails. A plumber brings a certified mail envelope and talks about fines for parking a van with a logo fees piled on with no hearings. They whisper that things vanish when reported. We collect their documents. Rackwell traces HOA funds and finds what nobody expected: dues were going into an account under Cheryl's husband's name. The HOA's EIN points to a shell landscaping business. Money collected under false pretenses, but there's worse. They'd claim to have paid for fire mitigation, cleared fire breaks contracts for brush removal to satisfy forestry inspectors, and justify budget spending. Marcus, a private auditor I hired, follows the money and finds invoices that are suspiciously round-paid quarterly stretched over 5 years. When I go to inspect the supposed mitigation site, what I find is a tangle of dry brush rusted tools, no cleared trails, nothing that resembles the reports filed. I take geotagged photos and bring them to Carly at Emergency Management. She looks at the photos, husks her breath. If they falsified public safety records, this becomes criminal. Suddenly, this is no longer about petty HOA power, it's about endangering lives. Then unmarked cars roll into Ridgewood Pines. People in plain clothes badge themselves and go into the HOA shed. Minutes later, Cheryl is led out in handcuffs, red-faced. Her husband wanders dazed. By dusk, board members are resigning or being investigated. The county freezes HOA operations pending review. Rackwell and Marcus dig deeper, double-billed maintenance, fictitious contractors, wire transfers that lead to P.O. boxes in other counties. This is fraud, conspiracy, misuse of public safety funds. The state AG opens a preliminary investigation. Act 3. The takedown and the relief. Subpoenas searches of home-seized files. The P.O. box Marcus found contains reams of returned checks and tuition-like invoices traced back to dues collected illegally. The local paper runs the headline, "Without Mercy, HOA Fraud Scandal Exposes Fake Firebreak Endangers Residents." I avoid the spotlight. My aim isn't glory, it's accountability. I drop a sealed summary at the county prosecutor's office, timelines, documents, threats, forged notices. The facts speak louder than spectacle. In court, the grand jury hands up indictments: wire fraud, falsifying public safety records, misuse of HOA funds, conspiracy. The list goes on. Cheryl pleads guilty to several counts to avoid trial, and she's barred from holding leadership in any registered organization for life. Her husband faces prison time. The HOA is dissolved by court order. Accounts are liquidated. Illegally collected funds are returned to residents with interest, thanks to a civil suit. I didn't take a dime. I asked the court to place remaining funds into a community improvement trust managed by residents, used to properly clear the fire breaks with permits and county oversight. The aftermath is quieter. No more clipboard patrols. The compliance shed becomes a free tool library. The fake garden is replaced with a real resident-planted garden. People talk again, share firewood, mend fences, organize a trail cleanup without asking permission or paying a fee. Ranger Bill, the retired ranger who helped organize neighbors, comes by with a clipboard. We want to start fresh. No fake fines, no threats, no president's whim. He asks for my help making bylaws that protect everyone with no loopholes. I say, you get bylaws that are fair, and I'll back you. The lesson, not a sermon, just a quiet realization. Small, unchecked power becomes tyranny. A clipboard can bully folks into silence, but documentation law and a community that refuses to be cowed can dismantle that power. Greed will buy silence, but it can't buy proof. Protecting your community has to be a job for the community, not the domain of a few who profit from fear. The satisfying scene I watch: volunteers finish the proper fire break, neighbors laughing, the shed, repurpose the old paint-scrawled walls, scrubbed. A mason jar bouquet appears next to the sign I posted months ago. A small note about time. I don't know who left it, and I don't need to. What matters is that the place is finally ours to protect. So here's the question I leave you with, and it's not neat. How should local power be checked? By strict laws, by oversight, or by a community that's always alert and ready to stand up? When does protecting the neighborhood turn into exploiting the neighborhood? If you've ever faced abusive local power, an HOA, a landlord, officials, tell us in the comments. Share what you think is right or wrong. Tell your story. If this hit a nerve, share it with a neighbor, and subscribe for more stories where ordinary people sometimes have to stand up to get fairness back.